Okay, you ready? Okay, today we're talking to Ken Crosshour. Ken's in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, and Ken's standing beside a rather interesting object that they just put in. Ken, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing there and what are we looking at? What's that ball behind you?
Sure. Hold on a second. There I am. We're in Jalalabad, Afghanistan to bring bandwidth to the people. Dave's thing is comms, lift, and power. We kind of refocused that to power, comms, then lift. We've got to have power first, obviously. Bringing comms, this is an inflatable satellite dish. It's a 1.8 meter dish. You inflate it by getting the bottom compartment filled, fill up the top compartment, give a differential, it creates a parabolic dish. You attach the L&B on. And here in Afghanistan, we have a 4-watt transmitter, and we're shooting the Whiskey 6 Eurotel satellite, and we're getting about 2.4 megs down, 400 to 500K up. It's about the fattest pipe in Jalalabad right now.
So that's why we're getting decent quality video, is because you've got actually a pretty good pipe, and that's a satellite dish. Essentially, that ball represents a satellite dish.
Exactly. It's not a long-term solution. For long-term, you want a real rigid satellite dish, and you can get a better deal on the service. But for a first-in responder, a first-in situation like this, we can drop this in. It's 2 70-pound Pelican cases. You drop it in, takes about an hour to set up, find the bird, commission the system, and you're good.
So you guys, you're going to leave it there for a couple of months. How long have you been there? How long did it take to put it up?
Right. The hardest part was getting it out of customs. It sat in customs for 10 days because it's a satellite communications gear, and you have to have special licenses, and every minister was kind of arguing about it. We finally ended up being able to bribe it out of the system, and it cost us about $4,000 just to get it out of the system. They were going to keep it. So once it got here, after 10 days, it took me about 3 hours the first time to set it up. The network had problems, but it wasn't us. We were good. We had good signal. I had a 17.1 on my signal meter, which is pretty great. Once the network in Germany worked out with the network in Atlanta, the network bridge, we were solid ever since. So I actually took the system down on the 26th to leave here. We went to Kabul. We were supposed to leave. I got called back to set it back up and leave it here. And that reset up took me only about 45 minutes or an hour. And in the process, I was able to train the local staff on how to do it in case they have a problem with power while I'm gone.
Now, where are you physically located? Because I see some mountains behind you. Where are you guys?
Sure. If you go to TajMahalGuesthouse.com, we have a Google Earth place marker that will take you right to our house, exactly where we're at. But basically, I have the Spengar Mountains this way, which is where Tora Bora is, where I'm pointing. That's behind you. On the other side, we have the Hindu Kush and Nuristan, right over those hills. Very bad area. But we're right in this valley of mountains, and this is actually the crossroads. It's called the Silk Road. The crossroads of the Silk Road, where all the trade and commerce and peace occurred in Afghanistan over all history. This was the place everybody was pretty much getting along, and then they go out to the tribal areas and have their fights. So Jalalabad is our main focus in Nangarhar, because once we make this place stable and help the folks here, it will spread out. Because this is the crossroads. It really is the crossroads.
So you're on top. You're on top of a building in the downtown area of Jalalabad.
No, actually, we're on top of a building, but we are not in town on purpose. We're out in the country, as you can see. We've got the mountains around us, and there's nobody around us that we can't see. We've got pretty good perimeter surveillance. We've got 2 gas stations here. The owner owns the gas stations and all these buildings. Keeps it very secure. So the main road's probably 150 yards away from me. So that's our main security threat, is the main road back there. But besides that, it's all country and river this way. So as long as we got that covered, we're pretty good.
So you guys do your own security, or do you have, who are you working with? I mean, you're in a dangerous zone apparently. How do you provide? How do you make sure that your equipment's safe and that you guys are safe?
Right. We have a partnership. When Dave and I helped save the Taj, the UN pulled out of here in December when we came here. And when they pulled out, we came in, filled the gap with a little bit of cash, generators, refrigerators, small things. The UN basically pulled everything out of here, and their team left the house that they had built. So we came in and took over the lease, added some fresh equipment, some fresh comms, and a guy named Tim Lynch, who's an ex-Marine American who now is the lead expat here, has his own company called Vigilant Strategic Services, VSS. And he provides security for us, and we need to pay him for it someday, but we can't right now, we just can't afford it. So at some point, we would probably pay him as a security contractor. But right here, we're pretty safe. Again, we know the people, we know the governor, we know the chancellor, the mayor. They like what we're doing, especially bringing in the Fab Lab from MIT, which is going to be a big benefit to the people of Afghanistan.
So tell me just a bit about the Fab Lab. Obviously the Gator or the satellite was brought in to support the Fab Lab applications. Talk a little bit about the Fab Lab.
Okay, I'll tell you what I know. I'm not that much of an expert, but I went to San Diego to do an installation. And Fab Lab, the concept for Neil Gershfeld is to take people beyond just computing and surfing the web into an email and into actually making stuff. So if you just Google Fab Lab or go to Fab Lab, MIT, the group is called the Center for Bits and Atoms. They basically raise the funds through the National Science Foundation and donate a couple $100,000 worth of equipment to a place like this. Laser cutters, millers, a thing called a ShotBot, a 4-foot by 8-foot work table that fabricates etchers, just basically a whole bunch of cool stuff. And you set up some computers using something called Ubuntu, which is a Linux, a Debian kernel mode. It has computer-aided design, computer-aided engineering, and some paint programs and stuff. And you can design stuff on the computer, then actually hit a button and make it. So the idea is for us to give these folks the fabrication capability, start making stuff, create some enterprise, create some business, create solutions. Not going out and buying stuff in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's impressive. So you've been over there a month and you've got another week or two, and then you guys are leaving this equipment behind. And this house is a house you can come back to and continue to work out of.
Oh, absolutely. We live here now. In fact, my room, I'll show it to you if you want to see it.
Sure.
Hold on.
Yep.
It's a mess. My room's right there.
Wow.
So I live up here on the top deck. There we go. I live up here on the top deck. We have 2 rooms. Usually Tim is in that room, and Synergy Strike Force owns this room. And we'll just leave our stuff here. This will kind of be the server room. We'll leave the modem, the switches, the Polycom. The local house manager who's going to be watching over this stuff can come up anytime and have a conference with us if there's any problems or situations we need to talk about. Reach back.
Well, thank you. Anything else you want to add that I've forgotten to ask?
I'd just really like to thank MIT for getting the Fab Lab happening. Of course, Dr. Warner for facilitating, and a bunch of other people who just made it possible for me to be here, because it's quite an honor. It's pretty cool.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kroschauer, for your time.